Welcome in to Still a Hero, powered by USAA. My name is Randy Miller, and every week we talk to some incredible people who have served in the military and now are serving their community. And we got a great one for you today. Hey, we are so excited and honored today on Still a Hero to have the founder and CEO of the Military Spouse Advocacy Network. We're talking about Verenice Castillo, and she is here with us. Verenice, how are you?
Thank you so much. I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
How are you?
Listen, I am so excited that we're talking about military spouses because, for so long, military spouses weren't given their due, I don't think. And I think it's just been in the past maybe 10 years that people have awakened to the idea that when one person in the family serves, the entire family serves, and the military spouses are at the core of that and are so responsible for so many things. So, number one, thank you for your service. I want to ask you, though, how did all of this come about? And I know your personal story of going through that isolation kind of period. Talk about that a little bit, if you will.
Yes, it was. It's one of those lifestyles that not many know, and even when they know it, they don't understand it. It's rewarding, but it's challenging. So I'll tell a little bit about my story. I am an immigrant from Mexico, came to the United States when I was 16. And that was my first experience of leaving everything behind, my family, my friends, my language, and then coming to a place where I was feeling out of place. I didn't know the language. I had nothing. So a few years later, I met my husband. He was already active duty, and he is a military kid. So he was a brat. His father retired from the Air Force. And to him, this lifestyle, that's all that he knows. And I had no idea what the military was about. So when we met and then we got married, when we were going to get married, he told me during the time we were dating that we were going to move. But I thought he meant we were going to move homes. I mean, I had no knowledge of the lifestyle. And I'll tell you, we are one of those stories. You hear a lot of the stories that when I met my husband, we got married within 3 months. So there was no time to know the lifestyle, to know what it meant to move and how often and how many times, and none of that.
You're just kind of thrown in there, right? I mean, you're thrown in.
Exactly. And it's like, man,
there's no manual for that. I saw the guy in
uniform and all of that, so I went for it. Yeah. So I had no idea what it was about. We get married and having to move. And once again, I was experiencing the leaving everything behind. The only difference this time is that I was doing it on my own with my husband. And there was a lot of isolation. I mean, I wanted to go back home. It was not something that I could adjust. It was really hard. And my husband would tell me, you need to get out there and meet people. And I said, okay, fine, I'll do that. But it was not something I was willing to do, which is something that many of us military spouses deal with. So when I did, I realized that, number one, I was not the only military spouse going through that. I wasn't the only military spouse feeling isolated, leaving everything behind and having to start all over again. And then I started hearing the stories of not having enough support or not having a community or not having another military spouse that will become a mentor. I mean, there was so much. And I'm talking to you about when I married my husband, it was back in 2000. And it was even less than what we have now. So it was very isolated. There was not a lot of resources. It was one of those things that you didn't ask for nothing. So that's when I decided, you know what, I'm going to become a mentor to these young spouses, because there were some that were younger than me. So I decided to become a mentor and connect them to resources and be that shoulder to cry on. And I started building this community for other military spouses to feel belonged, to feel heard, to feel that there was someone that could understand them.
Now wait a second, Verenice. Yeah. Wait a second. So you went from totally isolated, not knowing how to navigate anything, not having anybody to tell you, to mentoring. I mean, it would have been easy right then to kind of crawl into a hole and not talk to anybody and just take care of yourself. But instead, you went the other direction, and you started this. First of all, the mentorship. What was in you? What did that take? I mean, are you that kind of a person all the time?
Yes, I think this is just who I am. I mean, if I see someone in need, hey, how can I help? What can I do? I went to school to study social psychology, and I'm fascinated to. And you know what? Even with education, even with a career, I was working, and I had a life. Even prior I met to my husband, the moment that I left everything behind is like I went into this isolated, dark place that it was hard to get out of. And getting out of there is what exposed me to, like I said, realizing what the lifestyle was about, and say, you know what? Okay, enough of pity. This is not what this is about. So I need to do something about it for me and for the need that I see out there. And that's what even up to now, all these years later, is my fuel every day, because I continue to hear the stories from spouses feeling isolated and not having a community. And I'm like, that should not be 26 years ago, maybe. But now, shame on us for not doing enough. So
Right.
those spouses, especially the brand new ones, continue to be that motor, that fuel that helps me to continue to do what I do. But I do have a heart for helping people.
Yeah, and I mean to start it's one thing to mentor people, right? But I mean to start a network, a military spouse network. I mean, I can't even imagine the logistical part of that, and the training that you have to have, and all of the paperwork. I mean, that was a that was a big task, wasn't it?
Yes, I'll tell you, when I started doing the mentorship, and then it got bigger because I started working in collaboration with our military base to bring and to actually develop a class to teach resiliency to our squadron. It got so big that that's what it pushed me to create a nonprofit. But I will tell my own mentor, I'm not doing this to have a nonprofit. I don't even know how to do it.
Right.
I have no knowledge. I have no idea. And I said, and I'm afraid that I'll be behind a desk, and I will no longer hear the stories of the spouses needing help. And she gave me very wise advice. And she said, Verenice, maybe this is the time. Then now you start training other people with the same passion that you have, so that you can reach out to bigger audience and reach out to more spouses that are out there needing help. And I was like, that's true. This is not about me. This is about what I can do and the people that I need to serve. So that's when I started MSAN 11 years ago. And with no knowledge of nothing. Now I rely on my mentors, rely on the experts that will help you to do the initial process. But it's been pretty much the other fellow military spouses who have joined this effort to become volunteers to actually help get this nonprofit up and running. It's been all the past, the present, and the future volunteers and staff members of MSAN who have made this happen. I'm just being blessed that I use my story to help other people. But now everybody else that is joining MSAN, their story is, I wish I had a mentor when I became a new spouse. I wish I had a community every time that I moved. So they join our mission because this is exactly what they wish they had. Now they want to pay it forward.
Yeah, and it absolutely is a mission. That's a great description. We're talking to Verenice Castillo here on Still a Hero, and she's the CEO, founder, Military Spouse Advocacy Network. And, you know, the other thing that I'm sure you've run into, just like other military spouses, you know, once you get out there, like your husband said, go out and meet some people, you know, find your community, that kind of a thing. Well, then all of a sudden you have to move. You have to move, and you don't have your community anymore. You're redeployed somewhere, and you have to start all over again, right?
Yes. You know, in the military, every time that somebody uses the word transition, everybody thinks of an active duty member transitioning out, separation or retirement. We families transition every time we move because we leave everything behind. Our homes, our communities, the schools, dentists, hairstylists, we leave everything behind. And every time we move, it's to start all over again. Our spouses, the active duty member, they know where to go. They know who they work for. They know what they're going to do. They're going to have a house. And all they got to do is be present. Us as military spouses, we have to deal with everything that comes with bringing the stability in our homes for ourselves, our kids, and our spouse to make sure that everything continues to run for the bigger picture. This is for the mission of our military, and we know that our country is the number one. So we do our job by supporting, but every time we move, it's really hard. And it's not just the fact that when I talk to my family, my mom will just think of, you have no one to talk to, and I will be like, Mom, it's more than that. I don't know where you're going to live. I have to find schools. I have to find doctors.
Right.
You need emergency contacts. There's a joke between military spouses that as soon as you arrive to your installation, you probably ask someone in line at the commissary. You don't know who they are, but you ask them to become your emergency contact because we don't even have that. Oh. So it is like all those things that people don't think about. It is part of the process that we have to have with us every time that we move. And how this is why MSAN is there for, because it's a portable community. You don't have to leave your mentor. You don't have to leave what we offer to you. It moves with you. At the same time that we are empowering you to actually now help us to pay it forward. And that's the other side of MSAN, where we teach leadership development training. Because I wish I had leadership training when I was talking to military leaders and governmental officials on behalf of my community. Sometimes I didn't know if I actually used those 3 minutes they gave me to do any justice for the people I was representing. And I said, oh no, if you want to see something happen or change in our community, it takes a military spouse to do it. Yep. And there are so many ideas out there, and there's so much passion and commitment, but not enough training. And that was another thing that I said, I am going to bring this real, meaningful leadership training for all our military spouses who are community leaders and are ready to fight and change the system to make sure that it's much better.
Look at you. Look at you. I mean, that is such a powerful story, and you can just feel that passion that you have and for all of these military spouses and their families. And, you said something very important, because when you make those transitions to another city and another community, a lot of times the deployed spouse can't help in any way. I mean, they're serving, they're deployed, and so they don't want to have that on their mind, right? I mean, you're taking all of that stress and pressure off their mind to reassure them that everything's okay on the home front.
Yeah, our one of the main things that we think about is our spouse needs to be 100% ready to go, regardless if they are just going to the office or if they're going to deploy or whatever is happening, because they need to be focused on the mission. And at least with my husband, I will tell him, look, you go do your job, you deploy, you don't worry about us, we're going to be just fine. And that's a lot of pressure. That is a lot of things for the spouse to carry all of that. But at the same time, we want to do our job to make sure that our active duty member is taken care of and they're focused on the mission, because it's bigger than ourselves. So it comes with it. So when you hear people saying that we are the backbone of the military, we truly are. But it comes with a lot of responsibilities, a lot of pressure, a lot of everything. And this is why, because that is not going to change. The lifestyle is not going to change. This is what the military is about. So what we need to do is bring in solutions that are going to make things better, to create a stronger foundation. So when we see all the side effects, career and employment problems, financial problems, food insecurity, those are symptoms of a not very strong structural foundation, which is having a community, having someone to rely on, someone to support you. Everything else has a solution, and you start connecting with resources, you name it. But to me, it's like, if we don't have a strong foundation, a strong community to provide to spouses, all the other symptoms are going to take over.
Wow, I love that. Verenice Castillo is our guest here, founder and CEO, Military Spouse Advocacy Network. And in 11 years, Verenice, I know there have been so many great stories about different families that you've helped, different military spouses. Can you give us one? Can you give us a story?
I think the one that I share, especially with military leaders when I get to talk to them, is we come at a certain age, and even some of them in a certain rank and a certain position within the military, that they forget about how the youngest generation of the military looks like. They remember what it was for them, and they assume that it continues to be that way. So it's my job to expose them to what really is and the changes of the new generation. And a few years back, MSAN is one of the resources briefed during basic training for the Air Force and Space Force. So all the brand new spouses get to talk to us and we share about what we do. And I was there one Thursday just to talk to spouses. And I met a 17-year-old young lady who was 7 months pregnant. And then I asked her, how's it going? I was so excited because, it's graduation day. And as soon as I'm like, how are you? And all of that, she starts crying. But anxiety, I'm afraid, kind of crying. And I hugged her and I said, don't worry, it's going to be fine. Tell me what's going on. I said, what is the plan? And she said, well, I'm 17. I'm 7 months pregnant. We're getting married tomorrow. I'm going back home to finish high school online. And then I know that in a few months from now, probably in the summertime, I have to leave my family to move somewhere else that I don't know. This is the youngest generation of the military. They're young, they have kids. And this 17-year-old was learning I have to graduate high school. I'm about to become a spouse and a mom, and I have to leave everything behind to start my own life, probably at 18 years old. So this is when we start seeing spouses falling into this black hole. If there's no bridge providing the support from someone who's 17, 18, and they have no idea what the military is about, and the resources are over there, they fall into this black hole because there's nothing, they just darkness and scary and you name it, all the negative feelings.
Yeah.
So we have to build that bridge so that they don't have to fall into that black hole where I fell into. And I'm like, okay, no more spouses should be here. Shame on us if we continue to see spouses in the black hole. That is just, it should not be happening anymore. So that is one story that I'm always sharing with everybody. That's a new face of our military. It's not like 26 years ago where my husband got married with no kids and they were not getting married that young.
Yeah, you're so right, Verenice. We did a show recently from Camp Pendleton, and you kind of either forget or you don't realize. I'm looking out. It was a live show that we did there, and I'm looking out into the faces of these young Marines. And I was just struck by how young, just how young and how passionate and everything else. But yeah, you think about yourself when you're 17 years old or, 18, 19, 20, and you're having to navigate anything in life, but having to navigate as a military spouse. Wow, that's a different level, isn't it?
Yes. I did a presentation once and I told the audience, just think about what you were doing at 17, and I'll get back to you later. And at the end of my presentation, I said, well, what you were doing at 17 is not what new 17-year-olds are doing now, including that spouse that was going to leave everything behind to support the mission of this nation, and now having to have a life and the amount of responsibilities that were coming her way at 17 years old.
Oh, well, we're talking to Verenice Castillo here on Still a Hero, founder and CEO, Military Spouse Advocacy Network. I want to hear some about this spouse employment. I know you guys have a pretty robust training program, right?
Yeah. So we have what we called we started a few years ago a training called Military Spouse Leadership Development Program. And the focus of this program was going to support military spouses by helping them to develop the skills to not only navigate the lifestyle, but it was going to help spouses who were, of course, were looking for employment, those that were in a location where you cannot work, but you can continue to develop skills and have something on your resume, or even those community leaders that like, hey, I have an idea, I just don't know where to start. So I took this idea to the National Preparedness Leadership Initiative at Harvard University. And they are the ones that worked with President Bush to develop leadership training under crisis for FEMA employees and for federal employees for 9/11 and Katrina. So I presented this to the staff, to the director, and I said, look, our lifestyle is a crisis. The fact that we become used to it is a completely different story. But it is a crisis because there's no stability. We don't know when our spouse is coming, when they're going. We don't even know when we're moving, how fast or what. I said, so it's always full of unknowns, and it can become a crisis for many of us. So I would like to teach military spouses how to lead under crisis. They love the concept. We started doing this, and now military spouses are learning how to be individual leaders, how to identify themselves as leaders, how to lead under crisis, how to be able to negotiate conflict resolution and communication skills. It became so successful, this program, that now we offer it twice a year, 50 military spouses per cohort. They're small cohorts because we want them to build relationships. So we do this with Harvard University twice a year. Then we realized that a lot of young spouses wanted to be engaged and wanted to be part of this. So we developed the Emergent Leaders Program for younger spouses. So we are graduating 150 a year just based off of that.
Wow.
And then we brought the University of Notre Dame to teach these leaders how to be ethical leaders and be able to do bigger things. So now we are graduating close to 350 military spouses a year just on leadership training.
Wow.
And it's meaningful training because they graduate with a certificate from MPLI at Harvard University, a certificate from the University of Notre Dame. Everything is free to them. And this is just something for spouses to take advantage of.
You know, it's just amazing. And you got to look back, over the last 11 years and just be so proud and thankful for everything that you've been able to develop, because there's so many aspects of what you do that help military spouses, and I'm sure it's to the point now where a lot of military spouses that you help actually come back and volunteer or work for MSAN, right?
Yes, 1,000%. A lot of people are loving what we do, love the mission. They graduate and then they turn around and they become volunteers.
Great.
And I feel like a proud parent, because now I'm seeing spouses going through our mentorship hub, getting assigned to a mentor, becoming knowledgeable of resources, a lifestyle, and then getting excited enough to cross over here, become leaders, go through the training, and guess what? Now they're on their own, changing lives, changing the system, changing their communities. And I'm like, this is exactly what I want to see.
Oh, boy.
There are spouses that are going through this full circle, and I see them taking off, changing the world, and seeing them succeed in the things that they want to do.
That's so cool. I'm just kind of curious. So what percentage of military spouses is a part of the Military Spouse Advocacy Network are men versus women?
We have actually some male spouses. There are mentees, and there were also mentors, and they also are part of the leadership training. It's still very low, the percentage compared to a female military spouse. I will say that we're still within probably the 5%.
Okay.
But we are doing everything we can to get the word out. And I'll tell you that every cohort, we're seeing that at least one or two guys are with us in that training. So that tells me that people are applying, are getting to hear about it, they're getting excited. So we have at least one or two male spouses at every cohort.
Will you run for president of the United States of America?
I'll be behind the doors helping as much as I can.
Oh, you've done some great work. That is just so
Thank you,
fantastic. the Military Spouse Advocacy Network. Where is the best place for people to get information about it and find out what you guys are up to?
Definitely. We're all over social media, Military Spouse Advocacy Network, on social media, all the platforms. And then our website is militaryspouseadvocacynetwork.org. And as soon as you go into the homepage, it gives you all the information that I share with you right now about how we support spouses. And it's very easy to navigate. I'm on LinkedIn, so if anybody wants to connect with me on LinkedIn, just look for me, Verenice Castillo, and I would love to connect with anybody who's got ideas or is interested in what we do, or if they're looking for support. And something I forgot to mention, we're open 24/7.
Oh, okay.
So no matter what time it is, if a spouse has a question, even if it's about, I cannot go to sleep because I'm about to move and I'm anxious, hey, we're here to help you. Just tell us what you need and what is it that you're looking for. And we are all over the nation and then, of course, overseas. And we got volunteers all over the place ready to support.
So cool. That is so cool. Oh, wow. I mean, the things that you've done, thank you so much for your service. We're so honored to have you here with us and to talk about this great work. And Verenice Castillo, you are still a hero. Verenice, you knocked it out of the park. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Randy Miller, still a hero, powered by USAA, and new episodes dropping every Monday.